Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and today I'm looking yet again at Poke Beach because they got some new cards revealed that we actually kind of saw one of them before. Um, and we already knew Trapgos EX was coming definitively from the Stellar Miracle set, which is releasing July 19th. And they said it was revealing a new type. I don't think that is true. I don't remember if this is the Japanese or international set. I think it's probably the Japanese set. But this is looking really cool. So we saw this Trapgos EX in a leak, which I cannot confirm that the other cards were real. Specifically, there's a Lapras that looked a little weird in terms of its attack, but whatever. So we do know that Terrapgos EX is real though, which is really cool. And it was probably, in my opinion, the coolest of them, probably the best. I don't remember them that well, to be honest, but it was probably them. It was the most straightforward. Um, and it says, I'll just read off the PokeBeach article. Stellar Pokemon are Terra Pokemon featuring powerful attacks that cause multiple types of energy, similar to old Crystal Pokemon cards from the or Pokemon from the E series. And I'm gonna say these things look like they're out of like the Stone Age. These look so. I mean, they don't. I don't know. The E-reader cards are so weird. You got these big like yellow borders on them because you could put them into the e-reader, which is kind of weird. It means they have these massive borders, which just I don't know. I don't think looks really good. And also like they're not made. They were made quite a while ago, 2003. So probably before many of you were born even. But anyway, they're cards. And then also like the amazing rares or yeah, I think the crystals with amazing rares are kind of similar, as well as the new Terra Pokemon. They do not have a special, excuse me, they do not have a special mechanic labeled like Stellar. It doesn't say that. Thus, they can't be targeted by cards or effects beyond the Terra label. This is a purely thematic mechanic, unlike Crystal Pokemon, which were I believe a full mechanic. But this is more like Amazing Rares, which were not a full mechanic. And visually, they are distinguished by white background with rainbow-colored borders, and they're wearing this the stellar crown, I guess. So this is pretty cool. I just like the design of these. The rainbow edges are pretty cool. It's not like super intense either, which I think is nice. It's pretty nice. I don't know. I just like the look of these cards. The cards in Japanese look a little different than I think they might have a different hollow foil pattern. I don't know, but they always look different in images. The Japanese cards versus the international cards by just a little bit, but really cool looking here. And I'll talk about what that card does now. If you are not familiar with it, it's a Terra. So Terra Pokemon are immune to bench damage. That mechanic bad. I said it before. Just the being immune to bench damage isn't very interesting. It is from either Pokemon and damage from attacks, so not abilities, which can't really do damage. They can do damage counters, but whatever. Um, and yeah, so that's a thing. But the Terra mechanic, well, we'll talk about that a little bit more because it's getting finally more fully explored. Also, I will say, so we see the second attack here, which is for grass, water, lightning, which is pretty interesting. And I think this is much more interesting than being what other people kind of theorize that a full new mechanic of the stellar Pokemon could be, say it like does extra damage or like interacts with Terra Pokemon in a different way, which is like okay. We'll talk about that more, as I said, some with the Terra interactions, but I think this like pseudo mechanic thing is pretty cool. We saw it with the Amazing Rares. Amazing Rares were honestly terribly balanced, but like they were so bad for the game. They were either for most of the time they're in format, they were essentially unusable completely because their attacks were just unpayable. But then until we got Lugia and Lost Zone, and then they were just absurdly broken because they were these Pokemon that had like absurd attacks that were all single prizes. Like there's like Roaring Moon EX. Imagine Roaring Moon EX, but it's just like a single prizer, or like Greninja EX, but it's a single prize, like basic, like all these Pokemon that they were just like super broken if you could get them powered up, which you could very easily with Lugia and relatively easily with Lost Zone. But anyway, these look much cooler, especially this one. This one's pretty fair. Crown Opal 180 for that weird energy cost during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic and non-colorless Pokemon. We do yet again see that thing that will stop you from hitting a stalemate in the mirror. I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of it. Removing that like stalemate aspect. I get the point of it, I guess, but you can still win those stalemates with like other things. I guess. I was gonna say Mimikyu, but that's not how it works. But anyway, so it's interesting here. Pretty good, obviously, against basic non-colorless Pokemon like Raging Bolt EX or Grass Ogre Pond EX, or pretty good against Moon EX. It does have the one attack, but it's good against the one attack. The second attack, I think. I don't remember which attack's which, but the damaging attack it stops. And the single prize Roaring Moon and single prize, they add the future stuff, the ancient stuff. There's a bunch of things it stops, but there's a lot of things it doesn't stop as well. But you do have 230 HP to retreat. I've talked about this Pokemon a little. I talked about it in a video. The video was super bad. Like, to be honest, I was like so sick when recording. It was bad, but the video did well. But I wouldn't really recommend you watch it, to be honest. But you could at some point. And regarding the leaks, and I talked about this card a little more. And as I said, I can't confirm whether or not the other leak cards are real. There's a good chance they are, but it's not confirmed. And then we got Unified Beatdown. This is the more interesting attack. Or is it? I don't know. It's the more usable in attack in general play. Unified Beatdown for 2 colorless. It does 30 for each of your bench Pokemon. So this can normally do 150. You probably have double turbo, so it's 130. But you cannot use this attack turn 1 going second, or turn 1 going first. But you can attack turn 1 going first anyway. So you can't use this turn 1. This is kind of interesting because obviously it's just solid damage, right? And it's usable. You can use double turbo, and we'll talk about it a little bit more later. But let's go in order. I think all the rest of the cards kind of work with this. But oh, and so the crystal Pokemon, I think they were all colorless. I don't know. I didn't play with them, but I think they were all colorless, and the amazing rares were not, and the stellar Pokemon are not. I'm pretty sure. Terapagos is Terapagos only. I don't play the video games, but is Terapagos only stellar type? I don't know, but we saw. I think it was Cinderace, which was fire, Lapras, which was water, and Galvantula, which was I don't remember. I think it was oh, it's lightning. I think it was lightning. Galvantula can be grass, but I think it's lightning. Galvantula. I said it can be grass. There was a grass Galvantula revealed, I think, but we don't actually have. We only have a dual type. Anyway, you get the idea. So they are different types. We've got a Noctowl here. First of all, we got a Hoot Hoot. Oh wow, that did not get much bigger at all. There we go. The Noctowl did though. And we got an ability. We got an attack as well, which is 60 for 2, whatever. It does have 100 HP, which is well, it's good, I guess. Well, we'll see it in just a minute, but it's pretty good. It's not high, but it's good. So the ability, though, Jewel Hunt, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn. If you have any Terra Pokemon in play, you may search your deck for up to 2 trainer cards, reveal them, and then put them into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. That is that's really good, right? That's not broken, but that's really good. If we had Scoop of Net, it would be really, really, really good, like kind of broken. But we don't. But it's still pretty good. Trainers are really good to search out. Usually, if you want to search your deck for a card, getting a trainer is nice. Usually, you're playing trainers to search, right? So you could get if you need a Pokemon, you can get an S-Ball or Ultra Ball or whatever. Well, really one of those two most likely. We don't have Evo Incense, which is a bit of a bummer, or Evo Soda anyway, to just grab an evolution, but it's still pretty good. So essentially you can search anything. It can't search special energies, but whatever. It's still really good. And getting any 2 trainers is really good. Reveal them, put them into your hand, which is nice. And so if you play a Noctowl every turn of the game, which you could, I mean, a 4-turn game, and I guess you can't use it turn 1, but you can use it, say 3, use it turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. That could be solid. It is taking up, of course, bench space, and it's just kind of staying there. There is no evolution in Noctowl, but it's not bad. It's pretty solid, to be honest. So yeah, you can just use Noctowl to as like a decent engine, but it's an on-play engine, so it's not like if you get disrupted or certain stuff happens, it can be a really big issue as well. I've talked about engines that aren't really, I don't know, like you look at Pidgeot EX, Curlia, Dracloak, Bibarel, Skwovet, Skwovet together or separately. They can always be used, essentially. Bibarel is draw till 5, so you can't always use it, but generally you can always use these abilities and just draw cards if you get like hit with an Iono, but that you can't use this with Noctowl. But whatever, it's still really cool, really interesting. it's also like, what do you use this with? Because you need Terra Pokemon. So I didn't. Did I say Trapgos is Terra? I imagine you could probably have figured that out now. It's in the name, and it's these are revealed together, and I said they all work together. So Noctowl, pretty cool looking here. Then we got ourselves Fan Rotom, which is really interesting. This is just super bizarre. It seems not that good, but when I said 100 HP was good knocked out, I meant it, I guess. This is once during your first turn. You may search your deck for up to 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. You can't use more than one Fan Call ability during your turn. This seems very limited, unfortunately. Why can't you use more than one? Like, it's not like getting like 10 colorless Pokemon in your hands that good. Um, yeah, but anyway, so that's kind of interesting. And you can only use it during your first turn, going first or second, but kind of interesting. But one, it doesn't get Trap Ghost, it's more than 100, but it does get knocked out, which is kind of interesting. They're kind of meant to be played together, so maybe the 100 HP and knocked out is not that good, because I don't think Fan Rotom's that good. Oh, yep. Oh, this attack's really good, actually. I didn't even look at the attack. This attack's really good. 70 for one color. So I glanced at these, by the way, before recording, but I didn't look at the attack. 70 for one. If there isn't a stadium and play, this attack fails. What's okay? That's some weird wording. I think anyway. So you can only use this if there's a stadium in play. But 70 for one's really good. It's not, I mean, we just haven't really seen this before. I can't think, I mean, I'm sure there's been some time, but usually you see higher. I mean, we've seen 80 for one in Zapdos, which is quite a while ago by now. We saw Hoopa with 90 for one, which again was quite a while ago, and we've seen some similar cards, but um, those are, I mean, they're more than 70. 70 is okay, though, especially with Buddy Buddy Poffin. This will be one-shotting basic, so this is actually really solid. The ability is interesting. It's kind of weird, and I don't know its use cases right now, but I mentioned, like, Pidgeot. Pidgeot is an EX. It's not searchable. And I also mentioned a barrel, which is also not searchable, but I mentioned Squovit, and those evolved from Bidoof and Pidgey. I said that in a weird order, but, those basics are all low HP. You can search them with Buddy Buddy Poffin, and you can certainly search them with this Fan Rotom. So this is pretty interesting as a setup card and also as an attacker. It's not bad. A lot of decks play some stadiums, and it's certainly not that big of a deal to play more. You can say Artazone, play that down, Artazone for Fan Rotom, then use Fan Rotom. It's not on playability, so then you get out your like a Pidgey Bidoof Squirtle. I don't know. You can get some stuff though. It's certainly pretty interesting here. I think it's a really solid card. Weird fighting resistance. Always a big fan of resistance. I wish it was more of a thing, but that's like good, I guess. Is Buddy Buddy Poffin searchable as well? And then we come to Buffon. This card's, well, it's good for control, but it's kind of worse with the other stuff. So Curly Wall, its ability, if you have another Buffon in play, your basic colorless Pokemon takes 60 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon after weakness and resistance, which is usually how it works. You can't apply this ability more than once, which makes sense because you need multiple Buffons, so you probably just have 2 of the same Buffon, but there's no value in having the second one. So other than you need it in play, but it doesn't do anything if you have another Curly Wall Buffon. But then you have 130 for 3, which is not bad, especially when you're taking 60 less. Again, it is damage, so damage counters, one-shots, special condition stuff. That's not getting reduced, but that's fine. Trap Ghost, again, 230 HP. I think I might have said it's a little high. It's not that high, but when you boost up to kind of like 290, which is also kind of where Roaring Moon's at with the Ancient Booster Energy Capsule, again, kind of weird stuff going on there, self-damage, but whatever. You get really high damage, or sorry, really high HP. Okay damage. And then you have your attack isn't great, but there is actually a Buffon from Lost Origin. This set will be coming later this year, so we will have those cards. The Lost Origin card, the Lost Origin Buffon, and this Buffon together. It's a really interesting control card. In my opinion, it's, I think, 50 for 3, and I think it's 130 HP, and 50 for 3, and you lost one energy attached to your points active. It's an interesting control card. And with this Buffon, I think it's a pretty interesting combo, and just as for control, but that's kind of niche. As a card, though, doing that damage reduction is pretty interesting. It is searchable off of the Fan Rotom. You can get 2 Buffons, and that's kind of cool. And you could play these together, although I don't know if people actually, I imagine they'll play probably some of these cards together, but not at all. Then we come to some other insane cards. As I said earlier, Trapagos, EX is Unified Beatdown, 30 for each of your bench Pokemon. Normally, you're only hitting 150, or 130 with a double turbo. That's not that good, especially after turn one, where you can't use it turn one. You just can't. Um, so that's kind of interesting, but it seems a little weak. But then we come to this stadium. This stadium is insane. Um, or I guess it's if a player has a Terra Pokemon in play, that player can have 8 Pokemon on their bench. This is insane. Like, so I don't even know what Pokemon are Terra, to be honest, in the format. I kind of do, but there are just some EXs that are just Terra that I just like don't think about. Um, and then it says when this card leaves play or that player no longer has a Terra Pokemon, they discard down to 5. If both players discard, the owner of the card discards first. Blah blah blah, whatever. Um, that's insane. That's Skyfield, kind of, but nerfed, right? Skyfield is just 8 bench Pokemon. But not every deck plays Terra Pokemon, so your opponent might not get any value out of this, which is insane. You know what's a Terra Pokemon? Charizard EX. I think Dragapult EX is a Terra Pokemon. Of course, Trapghost EX is a Terra Pokemon as well. This card is just so cool. With Trapghost EX as well, then you're going to have 8 bench Pokemon hitting 240 or 220, both of which are relevant numbers. 240 is obviously more and obviously better. How much better is it? It's a little bit better if you're looking at Raging Bolt EX or even those 230 HP Pokemon like, I don't know, Trapghost EX if they're not playing Bouffalant or whatever. You know, there are Pokemon with 230 HP. That's not an uncommon number. 240 is not common, but Raging Bolt EX does have that. Trapghost EX, we'll be one-shotting them without a double turbo, and we'll talk about that as well. How to do it without a double turbo. Of course, there are tons of ways to accelerate energy, but there are some new ways as well. This is really good. I think it's gonna be like an amazing card. There's a bunch of Terra Pokemon. I don't know how many basics Terra EXs there are that are like good. So all Terra Pokemon, I believe, are basics. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure none of these are Terra Pokemon. Although I don't even know what it would say, but it doesn't look like they are. But really, really cool here. Then we come to Crispin, a supporter. This cards are really cool as well. Oh, I just saw these energies. These energies are so cool. I love this design. Nothing crazy, but I really like it. Oh yeah, so the Japanese set will be releasing in July, it looks like. But yeah, and then Crispin, a really weird supporter here, in my opinion. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards of different types. Reveal them, put one of them into your hand, and the other attach it to one of your Pokemon in play. Then you shuffle. That's weird. That's really weird. Is it bad? I mean, I guess it's good. It's weird. Also, who's Crispin? Is this a? I guess they must be from the DLC. Anyway, that's pretty interesting. Obviously, this accelerates energy. It searches an energy. It's different energy types, so it's good in specifically the Terra Pokemon. A cool card. I don't really know what to think of it. Yeah, I haven't like rated these cards out of 10. I will do that later on, but pretty interesting. Then we got Sparkling Crystal. This is an A spec. This is pretty cool. It's a tool. For an A spec, it's like good. I mean, no, for an A spec, it's okay, honestly, but I'll read it out. It's not bad. The attack cost of the Terra Pokemon this card is attached to is reduced by 1 of any type of energy. This is really cool. This, again, can be used with, oh wait, no, this can be used with a Dragon Ball EX as well. So I am pretty sure if that's a Terra, I believe it is. But um, that's really cool, right? So you can go ahead. It can be used with the Ogre Ponds as well. It can be used in just a lot of different scenarios, but you are comparing it to other like the energies, new upper energy, legacy energy. I think are the obvious comparisons because it's kind of like an energy, right? But it's a pretty cool card, a pretty good card to be honest. In certain scenarios, it is a tool. It is searchable off of Arven, which is really cool. Arven is a really highly played card right now. And honestly, the tool aspect, tool searching, doesn't get a ton of value outside of Force Steel Stone maybe or some other tools. It gets some value, but compared to the item, it's just so much worse. So getting more value, and this insane value off of a tool is really interesting. So this is a really good card, or a really interesting card. Obviously, it's good compared to a regular card, but it's an A spec, so it's a little different. But yeah, these cards look so cool. I'm really excited to play with them together and separately. I mean, they're just insane. I hope you enjoyed. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.